am Audie Murphy, the sister of Audie L. Murphy, the most decorated hero of World War II.
The shocking truth about Audie Murphy's death has finally come to light, and what has emerged is more terrifying than anyone imagined. For decades, fans and historians have debated the mysterious circumstances surrounding one of America's most decorated war heroes. Murphy, celebrated for his bravery and courage, was a symbol of resilience, a man who fought battles others could never imagine and returned home a hero. Yet, the way his life ended had always remained shrouded in unanswered questions and haunting rumors. Now, new revelations reveal that his final moments were not just tragic. They were part of a story far darker than previously reported. The plane crash that claimed his life was just the surface. Behind the headlines lies a chain of events, ignored warnings, and overlooked details that make the tragedy all the more chilling. Friends, colleagues, and investigators have finally pieced together what really happened, exposing factors that could have prevented the catastrophe entirely. What makes this discovery even more disturbing is the combination of mystery, error, and circumstance that led to that fateful day. Murphy, who survived countless life-threatening missions in World War II, could not escape this one. The terrifying truth, now confirmed, will make you see his final hours in an entirely new light, one that's impossible to forget, impossible to ignore, and impossible not to feel deeply in your heart. Audie Murphy's life was defined by courage and heroism, but the events leading to his death reveal a side of his story few people truly understood. Known as one of the most decorated American soldiers of World War II, Murphy had faced bullets, explosions, and impossible odds, yet somehow survived it all. His bravery became legendary, earning him medals, recognition, and the admiration of millions. After returning home, he transformed his fame into a career in Hollywood, starring in films that highlighted his wartime experiences while inspiring audiences with his resilience. Yet, despite surviving wars and battles that would have claimed countless lives, the circumstances surrounding his death were tragically human. On that fateful day, Murphy boarded a small plane, unaware of the hidden dangers that were quietly mounting. Investigations now reveal that a combination of mechanical issues, miscommunication, and unheeded warnings created a perfect storm. What many assumed was a simple accident now appears as a chilling convergence of factors, each one preventable, each one contributing to a tragedy that would shock the nation. In the days leading up to the crash, Murphy was reportedly tired and concerned about the safety of the aircraft. Friends and colleagues noted his unease, but the warnings were either ignored or dismissed as overcaution. This highlights a chilling truth. Even heroes, individuals who have stared death in the face countless times, are not immune to human error and unforeseen circumstances. Murphy's instincts and experience were extraordinary, yet they could not overcome the combination of chance, mechanical failure, and lack of oversight that led to the fatal event. The crash itself, when analyzed by experts, was terrifying in its inevitability. The type of plane he was flying in, combined with weather conditions and minor technical malfunctions, created a scenario that gave him almost no chance of survival. Those who have studied the event describe it as a sequence of unfortunate events that, while small individually, compounded into a catastrophic outcome. It is this chain reaction, the overlooked warning signs, the small but critical failures that makes his death not just tragic, but haunting. For decades, fans were left with speculation and rumors, trying to piece together the why behind the loss of a man who had already survived so much. His death, sudden and shocking, felt unfair precisely because of the life he had lived. Audie Murphy had endured unimaginable danger during war, yet was defeated in peacetime by a combination of factors that seemed almost absurd in their randomness. The story of his final hours challenges the notion of invincibility, reminding us that no amount of heroism can make someone immune to tragedy. Friends and biographers emphasize that understanding the truth is essential, not just for closure but to honor the life he lived. The revelations about his death reveal the complexity and fragility of even the strongest individuals. Murphy's final moments were not the result of recklessness. They were the tragic conclusion of a series of errors, circumstances, and overlooked warnings that ultimately proved fatal. Audie Murphy's legacy is now viewed through two lenses. one of heroic achievement and one of shocking vulnerability. By examining the details of his death, historians hope to prevent similar tragedies and ensure that the life of one of America's greatest soldiers is remembered accurately, not only for his courage in battle, but also for the human fragility that even heroes cannot escape. The combination of bravery, circumstance, and tragedy in his story leaves a lasting impression, illustrating that the line between survival and loss can be thinner than anyone expects. His life, filled with courage and heroism, ultimately collided with forces beyond his control, creating a haunting and unforgettable narrative that continues to captivate and terrify those who hear it. Even for someone like Audie Murphy, whose life was defined by facing death on a daily basis, the events leading up to his final flight were fraught with tension and foreboding. Those who knew him well describe a man who was unusually cautious about the plane, aware of small warning signs that could indicate trouble. He had survived intense combat, sniper fire, and dangerous missions, yet the vulnerability of a civilian aircraft, a place he assumed would be safe, presented a risk he could not fully control. It's a haunting reminder that experience and courage, while invaluable in battle, do not make anyone immune to accidents. In the hours before the flight, Murphy reportedly voiced concerns to colleagues about the aircraft's condition. Small technical issues had been noted, maintenance schedules had been questioned, and weather conditions were less than ideal. Yet, for reasons that continued to confound historians and investigators, these warning signs were not fully addressed. Murphy's instincts, honed by years of battlefield experience, told him to pay attention, but circumstances conspired against him in a way that seemed almost inevitable. The crash, when it occurred, was sudden and catastrophic. Eyewitness accounts and later analyses suggest that even minor mechanical failures, compounded by environmental conditions, created a scenario with almost no chance of survival. What makes this moment especially chilling is the contrast between his incredible survival record and the seemingly mundane cause of his death. It forces the realization that even those who have conquered the impossible are subject to the unpredictable, uncontrollable nature of fate. Murphy's death is a story not only of a tragic accident, but also of human oversight. Investigators later pieced together how decisions made in the hours before the flight, though perhaps considered minor at the time, culminated in a disaster. Communication lapses, procedural errors, and ignored signals combined to create an environment where even a hero could not overcome the odds. It is a grim lesson in how the smallest details, if unchecked, can have life-altering consequences. Friends and historians emphasize that Murphy's courage extended beyond battlefields into the final hours of his life. His awareness, quick thinking, and calm under pressure were evident until the very end. Yet the factors leading to the crash were beyond individual control, proof that even the strongest, most skilled people are vulnerable to circumstance. The tragedy also reveals a deeply emotional layer, the shock and grief of those who loved him. His death, sudden and preventable in hindsight, left a void in the hearts of family, friends, and fans. It was not only a loss of a soldier or a Hollywood figure, but of a man whose life had inspired countless others through bravery, resilience, and dedication. The impact of this event rippled far beyond immediate circles, cementing his legacy while highlighting the fragility that accompanies even the most heroic lives. Audie Murphy's story, particularly the events surrounding his death, is now seen as both inspiring and haunting. It underscores the delicate balance between human skill, preparation, and the unpredictable forces of the world. His final hours remind us that bravery does not guarantee safety, and that even heroes can be undone by circumstances beyond their control. The lessons learned from his death continue to resonate, emphasizing vigilance, respect for warning signs, and the sobering truth that fate often operates with cruel impartiality. The terrifying reality is that while Murphy survived countless battles and faced death in ways most could never imagine, he could not escape a final moment shaped by chance, error, and circumstance. The mystery that once surrounded his death has now been resolved, revealing a narrative that is as tragic as it is illuminating, a story of human vulnerability, resilience, and the unpredictable nature of life itself. The details surrounding Audie Murphy's final hours reveal a complex interplay of human error, unforeseen circumstances, and the sheer unpredictability of life. Those who knew him well recall that Murphy approached the flight with caution, aware of small indicators that something might be wrong. Yet, even his sharp instincts and unparalleled bravery could not account for every variable. In many ways, it was a chilling reminder that the forces leading to tragedy are sometimes invisible until it is too late. Investigators later discovered that maintenance issues with the aircraft, compounded by slight miscalculations in weather assessment, created conditions that were dangerously unstable. Small errors that might have been minor under normal circumstances became fatal when combined. Murphy, accustomed to evaluating risk in the battlefield, found himself powerless against these converging factors. The irony is both tragic and haunting. A man who had survived some of the deadliest moments of modern warfare was undone by circumstances that could have been avoided. With proper attention and foresight. Friends and colleagues have shared that. Murphy's demeanor in the hours before the flight reflected both caution and responsibility. He asked questions, double-checked details, and expressed concern for safety. But systemic oversights and miscommunication rendered these efforts insufficient. The terror of this revelation is heightened by the understanding that even the most prepared and vigilant individual cannot always prevent disaster when multiple failures align simultaneously. Beyond the technical details, the emotional toll of this story is staggering. Murphy's loved ones, who had watched him endure immense pressure and survive life-threatening situations, were unprepared for a tragedy that seemed almost preventable. The grief was compounded by the knowledge that warning signs had existed but were either missed or underestimated. This blend of sorrow, frustration, and disbelief intensified the impact of his passing, transforming it from a simple accident into a story of haunting inevitability. The legacy of Murphy's life is inseparable from the manner of his death. While he achieved legendary status for his courage on battlefields and in Hollywood, the circumstances of his passing underscore the fragility of even the strongest among us. His death forces reflection not only on the randomness of fate, but also on the importance of vigilance, communication, and accountability. For historians and fans alike, understanding what truly happened is both a source of closure and a sobering lesson. Despite the tragic outcome, Murphy's story continues to inspire. The same qualities that defined his heroism, resilience, awareness, and courage remain at the heart of his legacy. His final moments, though terrifying, also highlight a man who faced uncertainty with composure, attempting to navigate risks even when the odds were stacked against him. Every detail uncovered in recent investigations paints a portrait of a hero who never stopped fighting, even when the battlefield shifted to the realm of chance, human error, and unforeseen consequences. The haunting truth of Audie Murphy's death serves as a reminder that heroism does not grant immunity from life's unpredictability. No amount of experience, skill, or courage can guarantee survival when multiple factors converge unexpectedly. Yet it also reinforces the admiration for Murphy's life, a testament to a man who faced the impossible countless times and continued to embody bravery until the very end. The aftermath of Audie Murphy's death revealed a mixture of grief, reflection, and revelation. For decades, the hero who had faced enemy fire, survived countless combat missions, and inspired a nation with his courage was suddenly understood in a different light. People realized that the man who had conquered unimaginable danger on the battlefield was vulnerable to forces beyond his control: mechanical failure, miscommunication, and chance. The terrifying truth of his final hours transformed public perception, emphasizing not just his heroism but also the fragility inherent in every human life. In the weeks following the tragedy, investigators meticulously reconstructed the events leading to the crash. Each small detail, the maintenance schedules, the weather conditions, and the pre-flight warnings was analyzed, revealing a chain of unfortunate events that had been overlooked for years. These findings painted a picture that was as disturbing as it was enlightening. The very things that had seemed insignificant individually combined to create a situation no one could have survived. It was a sobering reminder that even the most cautious, skilled, and heroic individuals are not immune to the unpredictable forces of life. Family, friends, and colleagues expressed profound sorrow, but also admiration for the composure Murphy displayed in his final moments. Even facing circumstances he could not control, he remained aware, cautious, and courageous. The legacy of these final hours complements the story of his entire life, a life marked by bravery, resilience, and determination. His death may have been preventable in hindsight, but it also demonstrated the stark reality that human life is vulnerable, and that heroism does not guarantee immunity from tragedy. The emotional resonance of his story deepened as fans reflected on the contrast between his wartime survival and the circumstances of his death. For a man who had stared death in the face countless times, passing away due to factors beyond his control added a haunting layer of poignancy. Audie Murphy's life, full of accolades, inspiration, and courage, intersected with a final event that emphasized the fragility of existence itself. It is this contrast that leaves a lasting impact on those who study, admire, and are inspired by him. Even amid tragedy, there is a powerful lesson in Murphy's story. It illustrates the importance of vigilance, preparation, and respecting the limitations imposed by circumstances. It reminds us that human strength has boundaries, no matter how extraordinary an individual may be. His life and death together form a narrative that is inspiring, cautionary, and unforgettable, an enduring testament to both resilience and vulnerability. Audie Murphy's legacy now carries a dual weight, one of heroic achievement and one of human fragility. By understanding the terrifying truth behind his final moments, the world gains a deeper appreciation not only for his bravery, but also for the unpredictable forces that shape all our lives. His story resonates because it is real, emotional, and profoundly human. It teaches that courage, awareness, and determination are vital. Yet so is humility in the face of circumstances beyond control. Ultimately, the resolution of the mystery surrounding his death does not diminish his legend, it enriches it. Audie Murphy remains a symbol of courage, not just for surviving battles in war, but for the composure, awareness, and heroism he displayed even in the face of a tragedy he could not escape. His story will continue to inspire generations, reminding us that true heroism is measured not only by victory over enemies but also by dignity, awareness, and strength in the face of life's most unpredictable and terrifying moments.